you may not have all of it figured out, perfectly in a rule book to follow, because that's exactly what we didn't do from day one. We did not have any rule book to actually, go back to. All we had was this big vision, and then some values to stick to, and an idea to solve a really pressing problem in the market.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Humans in the Loop, our video series here at Human Managed. I'm Deborah, an intern here at the Human Managed Singapore office. And today we have a very exciting guest, Roshanara, who is a director at our company. And she's here to talk to us about building the company, building a bootstrap startup, and her experience doing that. Hello, Roshanara.
Hi, Deborah.
It's so nice to have you here because you're not usually in this office.
Yes,
So,
and
thanks for making time to talk to me today.
right.
So, give our audience an introduction about what you do.
So I have been involved in the company's process of ensuring that it has been bootstrapped since day one. In terms of FinOps, I mean, meaning financial operations, ensuring that the company stays sustainable with a lean team, and in order to stay bootstrapped for such a long time and remain profitable at the same time, it really boils down to very disciplined financial management and operations.
So, what was the, I guess, decision process behind deciding to be bootstrapped? Because I think in today's climate, right, there's so many tech companies, there's all this hype about like, oh, like this startup raised X amount of money in Series A, B, C, whatever. And there's all these people very excited about raising a lot of money. And there is a lot of, I mean, it's also for marketing, right? It sounds good, it sounds glamorous. So instead of going the VC route or the, just the funding route, why did you choose to be bootstrapped?
Right. I mean, it works for some people. I mean, being the VC route and all that. I'm sure there are some advantages to that and pros to that. But at the end of the day, you are still trapped in some sort of a debt in that route, and lots of external. It's not just seeking external funding. There will also be lots of external noise to deal with. Lots of unwanted advice, unsolicited advice. And yeah, there's just lots of confusion on how to exactly you want to, navigate your company, and where you want the company to go from here in terms of growth, in terms of strategizing your decisions. So we decided to keep it bootstrapped from day one, because ultimately we wanted to stay debt free,
Right.
as long as you have a healthy source of revenue, which is very carefully planned and curated for very specific customers. And yeah, so the VC route and all, all this fundraising, the Series A, Series B, as you said, it's a huge administrative and operational headache on its own to manage. All we set out to do was really walk with these customer and really build something valuable for them, not just copy paste something else which is already available in the market. So we didn't have much time,
Right.
to actually go and seek out VCs and whatever angel investors and whatnot. So all we had was some cash and lots of ideas and a very, very big vision to really make this happen. So yeah.
So, can you share with us more about this vision that you speak of? Like, what was the vision going into this that has clearly kept you, so motivated and so invested for so long?
What we started seeing all over, right? Just indecisions. Lots of decisions not being taken, or they are being taken very slowly, or just not. Sometimes they are taken so ruthlessly that it affects so many things at a very large scale. And yeah, so it was just lots of stories like this everywhere, and And that's when we decided to, okay, we have to do something about this. We have the knowledge, we have the resources, we have the opportunity now. And yeah, let's take the risk. Let's go ahead with it. What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that we could lose? So let's go ahead with it and try to fix things one at a time. Even if we can't fix everything at once, let's try to fix one at a time and see where this takes us. We first started with consulting, and then we moved on to platform, and then our services, and then products. And yeah, just going one circle, one at a time. And now that we have seen the entire, process in this last 6 years, we know exactly what not to do and what to continue doing and what to expect. And at the same time, continue to stay open, I would say. Just take whatever comes your way. There will be challenges, there will be lots of pain, lots of obstruction, lots of resistance for sure. But yeah, you have to really know why you started this and keep going no matter what. Because when you know that you are creating a very niche, a very unique value proposition for your customer, and you also ensure that the people who come in, stay really, really excited to learn something new every day, and also not afraid to unlearn anything. Because in what I have seen in this company is whatever you may have built like just last week
Right.
is becomes irrelevant this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really how fast we move.
Right.
So this can be really very, like, especially the people who may have spent their time and their effort and their energy to have built it, like, and then suddenly becomes irrelevant in just a week. That can be really very, so sometimes it can be demotivating. But yes, that's how market trends are going. That's how fast AI advancements and tech is moving. So we should not be afraid to just revamp everything. If it has to be done on a weekly basis, so be it. As long as we stay true to our architectural principles and our values, and we are heading towards the vision, I don't see a big problem in really changing things, even if it's going to be done on a weekly basis. Yeah.
Okay, so going back to being bootstrapped and keeping the costs low, like I said, it was very important. How do you keep operating costs, within a reasonable amount, given that it's a tech company, all this infrastructure, software, cloud credits or whatever it is costs so much, and manpower costs and all these things.
You have to, as I said, it's a daily exercise. So you go back to reshuffling your priorities almost every day. You have to do it tirelessly. You know, one day the priority may be really optimizing cloud. Yes, like, okay, no, we really need to sit down and look at this so that we are able to manage, some other software costs or some other, so that we are able to pay some other vendor, whatnot. And then the next day, the priority will immediately shift to R&D. Yeah. So, okay, we have to invest in, the adopting the AI models to build faster, to ship faster, to be more efficient, to build better products, to recruit better people. Yeah. So it's really about willing to shuffle your priorities as and when, like, be ready to do it anytime.
Would you
Yeah.
say that you've had to make a lot of hard decisions?
Oh, yes,
A lot
of
of hard
course.
decisions, yeah.
Hard decisions. I mean, this company is all about decision making, right? I mean, if you're
Yeah.
not making decisions, then something is wrong already. You really need to go back and think about what you're really doing in this company. Decision making and owning the decisions and taking accountability, taking responsibility is very, very important no matter the role you are in. So, of course, some decisions, rather than saying it was hard, it was necessary. Yeah. So, when you know that it's necessary and it's going to bring nothing but value, we are more than happy to take it. Yeah. You
So
just, yeah.
tell us more about what you said about accountability and responsibility. I think a lot of people throw that word around and say, like, you know, for example, when you're trying to hire somebody, it's like we want people to be accountable for their actions or whatever. But in the context of work and specifically human managed, like, what does accountability look like?
Okay, so when you take up a role or when you take up a job, and without going too much into detail about a task list, you need to own the overall accountability to the outcome of the job itself. You know, the metrics may vary, the specific tasks or the specific the list, you know, like, okay, in order to get this bigger job done, you need to have so many layers, so many subtasks to be completed by a different set of tool or people, or our AI agents, for example. So yeah, I mean, you need to be able to really see it as in, okay, what value is it really going to create, and for who, and for how long is this sustainable? Like, you may do something brilliant today, but it may create an zero value, you know, and not sustainable at all. So it's not going to generate any revenue. It's not going to be used by anyone. It's just this brilliant system you have created, which may only serve the purpose of a very few people, maybe to to perform better, but not necessarily a very resilient and efficient system that's going to generate value. So that's where you need to be when things start breaking up. Sometimes they may or may not be in your control. Don't start a blame game. That's what we really mean by accountability in any context, you know, not just, you know, in so-called HM's context or anything. But yeah, if you start playing a blame game, then that's when things will just, you know, start falling apart, and a lot of value will get destroyed along the way, and it's not going to serve anyone any purpose at all at the end. Yes, you also need to take responsibility for what you have committed to fulfill in the company or to deliver. You know, even if you are not, you don't really have to be like fully, you know, engaged every single day all the time. Just need to spend a few hours deep thinking about it, and then go into a flow, you know, use all the tools, use all the tech that we have, use all the infra that we have provided, and go really as deep as you can to extract the value of the work that is going to be done, and you eventually will end up taking the responsibility. If you are unable to do it and unable to make decisions and keep moving forward, then, as I said, then that is something that, you know, you really need to be concerned about, and yes, go back and think about what are you going to really do.
What's the difference between, like you say, it could be a brilliant idea but it brings no value? So what distinguishes a brilliant idea from something that is a brilliant idea but also brings value?
It will be, sometimes it will be just so obvious. You know, sometimes it doesn't really need to be explained so much in detail. When some work is done and people are, and you have users using it and benefiting out of it directly or indirectly, that's what's known as value. So if you set out to build something or do something which is only benefiting, you know, like the person who built it, or maybe the particular team who built it, and they are not able to somehow transpire it or translate it into something purposeful for another group of users who see value in it, which is worth, paying for it. So that's what we would classify or define as value.
So in when you want things, when you want outcomes of value, you want people who create these outcomes of value, right? So what do you look for when, I guess in simple terms, hiring people, getting people to join your team?
It's really, we definitely look for risk taking mentality. I think that's very important. Not just when I think in today's times, especially when the threat of mass unemployment is being talked about so much everywhere, and it's really happening. It's already here. So we would definitely want to hire more people who are willing to take risks, and like go for it, like go for the challenge, without, even if you do not have everything given to you in terms of super clear directions or super specific set of instructions to actually start from. Yeah, if you are able to define your own path, it doesn't have to be linear at all. In fact, most of the people thriving in human manage, they all come from very non-linear paths, and they are doing very non-linear things in HM. I mean, whatever they were doing like yesterday, they may not be doing today because they see value somewhere else. So you will tend to evolve. You will tend to go through that process naturally. So if you think you are, you will be able to really operate independently, with a very, like your values resonate with the company's values, and together we can build something remarkable together, and contribute to the problems of the market, like towards building it, towards solving it, towards fixing it, and making sure that it remains fixed every single day, because we are also operating 24/7, right? So you have to have what it takes to really respond when there's an emergency, because we are serving customers who are in the essential sector, which means emergencies are always bound to happen. So that is really important. You really need to be able to have that thing to care. You need to care about the customer, or the product that is being built. Like, okay, this really needs to work, which is why we are being paid for. Yeah, you need to do justice to that. Yeah.
So on the topic of people, since we're talking about like what you're looking for in people, like people who are willing to take risks and just go for it, what is your biggest challenge in dealing with people in like a company setting? I'm sure you have like a lot of challenges as you've told me, but like what would you say is like the most like prominent one?
Yes, the biggest, I would say, yes, there's a lot, but yeah, the biggest I would say is really making them care. Like, like when they set out to think, why should I care? Why should this even bother me? Why should I even act? Why should I even respond? So it's really making them automatically care about this without having to over explain, or over convince. You should be able to see that this, we are building something different, we are doing something unique, and we are really eliminating all kinds of inconsistencies, and trying something new every single day. So yes, they need to care about it, and sometimes making them care, yeah, it does pose a challenge, because for some it will just be, okay, I'm just here, it's just a very transactional relationship, let's keep it that way. Okay, that's fine too, I mean, it works. but it may not be very sustainable for a long time. Yeah. So unless you care, things will not be sustainable. So, yeah.
I think that's very poignant like advice. Like unless you care, yeah, because it can be transactional. Sorry, but I think if you don't actually have any investment in it, it's like what keeps you going with the mission and the work, right?
You have to find the meaning in it. Otherwise, everything will just appear meaningless and pointless, purposeless, and then you just lose the interest along the way. So that's detrimental for both the individual and the pace that the company is moving, because the company moves at a very fast pace, and we do realize that over time we have realized that not everyone can keep up, and we acknowledge that. And yes, we have to make, as I said, priorities will change every single day, and yes, so we just have to make tough decisions as well along the way.
So, what advice would you give, just to wrap things up? What advice would you give to somebody who is in the process of or thinking of, like getting into building a startup, especially a bootstrapped one, and just trying to figure like the operations out and like figure out this whole like people thing? Like, what would you say to them if they came to you and asked for advice?
Okay, make sure you have that MVP idea, that minimum viable product or a service that it's ready to be delivered. Like you actually have some ready users to use your service or your product. And then pull in everything you got. Um, you know, Try to, however small it may be, just start it off. And then once you slowly see your product or your service being used, and you start delivering exceptional service, that is when it becomes slightly easier to go the bootstrap way. It is really the huge differentiator here is giving that exceptional service. Because if you're just going to be another shop out there, just being in the competition, giving the usual, the day to day, service, then I think it doesn't actually make sense to even want to do something like this. Like, okay, I want to be bootstrap as well. I do not want VCs and all that. So you really need to have a very clear idea, and uh, yes, and sort out your financial management plan. Make sure you are really very disciplined that way. Depends, if it could be if, like in our case, it's a tech startup. I mean, it could be any startup, right? I mean, it could be in any industry. So ask yourself, what problem are you really trying to solve, and for who, and for how long do you think it can even survive or sustain? Because if you do not have a clear problem statement, or a clear pathway to where you're heading towards, then I think this is not for everyone, because it will not be sustainable, as I said.
So I guess just to wrap up, thank you so much for making time to talk to me today out of your very busy schedule, giving us insight about like your journey building, being part of building the startup and being there from the start and how you bootstrap and like you went into such good detail about that really gave us a glimpse into what it's actually like. Because I
Yeah.
think it's kind of like romanticized a little bit in the media, like
Yeah.
oh, building a startup, like tech is like so cool. I mean, it is very cool, but
Yes.
there's a lot more boring, mundane, not
Of
so
course.
not so
Yeah.
pleasant stuff going on. Hope to have you again, maybe sometime in the future as a guest on on our video series again. And to those who watched all the way here, thank you so much for watching this episode. Just a reminder, we post new episodes basically every week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you. Bye.